Shane, be careful what you wish for with questions, because the one question everybody wants to know about me.
Paul Amadeus, yeah, he don't wait for no one.
It ain't no stopping when I'm reaching for the top, and I know it ain't no looking back. I'm only looking forward. My goals and my goals don't define who you know, and I'm fine. I'll be fine. I just want you to know.
Hello and welcome to the Ability Zone. What is up? It's me, Paul Amadeus Lane, and I am so delighted to have you on this episode. We're going to be joined by the man himself, Shane Burcaw, from Squirmy and Grubs. He's going to be joining me to talk about the Abilities Expo, what he and his wife Hannah are going to be doing. They're going to be there for 2 days. You got to stay tuned. So if you want to know what all is happening at the Abilities Expo, March 7th through the 9th at the Los Angeles Convention Center in the West Hall, go to our website, abilities.com. Go there and check out all the different workshops, all the different events that are happening, and you will not be disappointed. But here's the most important thing we want you to do. Hear me and hear me well. Register. Register. Now, on the screen, you see a QR code right there. Now, if you can do both, scan that QR code and register. We want you there. So please do that. You are in for a fantabulous time. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. See, what I like about the disabled community that I'm a part of, being a quadriplegic for over 32 years, is that y'all not like us. They not like us. Some are not like us because we are just amazing people. Not saying that other people out there who are not disabled are not amazing, but we some amazing folks. You know why? Because we deal with the same problems that others deal with who have no disability. Compound that with now having a disability. So that's what really makes us awesome. And I'm going to always shout our praises because we are. So are you ready? Are you ready for the main event? Are you ready to hear the story of Shane Burcaw? Are you ready to hear some of the things that they're going to be doing at the Abilities Expo in Los Angeles, March 7th through the 9th? Y'all ready? All right, let's do it. What's going on, Shane? How are you?
Hey, Paul, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Shane, I am delighted to have you. I've been a big fan of yours for years. As a person with a disability myself, I always gravitate towards ones who are hustling like me and making things happen. So it is so great to chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited.
Well, Shane, you are going to be at the Abilities Expo coming up here in Los Angeles in March. You and your wife, Hannah, are going to be there. So we're going to talk about all the things you're going to share with us in that event. But what we're going to do is for ones who may not have seen your story, know who you are, Shane, please introduce yourself to the world, my friend, who don't know you.
Wow, yeah, thank you. So I'm Shane. I'm 32 years old, and I have lived with a neuromuscular disability called spinal muscular atrophy for my entire life. I am an author of several books about living with a disability. I'm kind of the funny and ridiculous and sometimes frustrating parts of living with a disability. I am also now a YouTuber alongside my wife Hannah. We've been making YouTube videos about our interabled relationship for almost 7 years now. So we are full-time YouTubers. And in all of the work that I do and the work I do with Hannah, my goal is to improve the way that society understands disability. I think anyone that has lived with a disability understands on a very personal level how much misinformation and ignorance there is out there in the world about disability. And so a long time ago, as I was kind of setting out on a path for my life, I decided that I was going to do everything I could to use my story to help change that and give people experience and knowledge so that we can all be better to the disability community. So that's me in a nutshell. I live in Los Angeles and I have a Labradoodle named Chloe.
Nice. I love it, Shane. And one of the things that I really, admire about you, because being disabled, I'm from the hood. We used to say game recognizes game, right? So that means we give props to those who are doing things and doing it well. So I really appreciated, Shane, how you didn't allow the disability to stop you from doing some pretty amazing things. I mean, you went to college, you graduated from college. And Shane, what was that like? When did you know that, hey, I'm going to do some great things and I'm going to put my mind to it and I'm just going to do it?
Yeah, I first have to acknowledge that I certainly uh, come from a place of privilege. I have been surrounded by a phenomenal support network and family throughout my life. Um, I give a lot of credit to my mom and dad and the way that they raised me with my disability. I got my first wheelchair, a power wheelchair, when I was 2.5, 3 years old. So like a baby. Um, and my parents made a decision that my disability was not going to be a barrier to a happy life. And they encouraged me to live like any other non disabled kid. I have a younger brother, Andrew, who's 3 years younger than me and is not disabled. And as kids, Andrew and I lived our lives the same way. We would go out in the neighborhood and make friends and get in trouble and get dirty and get hurt. Um, and my parents just did a really good job of encouraging me not to limit myself. They said, your life is going to be different. You're going to have to do things differently at times, but that doesn't need to be a bad thing. It means you need to be creative and you need to learn how to communicate with others. So I appreciate the way that my parents brought me up. I think though I didn't have a very good relationship with my disability until a few years into college. Um, I heard all of the messages from our society, all the portrayals of disability in the media that said that disability was a burden, that it was a tragedy, that it's the worst thing that can happen to a human. And at times in my earlier life, I began to believe those things. I began to believe that I didn't have value as a romantic partner or as you know, a worthy member of society. And I worried and I didn't know what my future would be like because of that. In college, as I was writing a blog about my life that kind of blew up and got a lot of attention in the world, I had the opportunity of meeting so many other badass disabled people who were out there in the world living their lives and just like killing it every day. Um, and that was really my introduction to the idea that disability is something that I can be proud of, that I am part of this vibrant community of amazing individuals um, who don't view themselves as tragedies or that they are less than anyone else. Um, and that was a big turning point for me where it was almost like a switch went off in my head where I was like, I don't need to be upset about, you know, the differences. in my life. I can embrace them and make the most of it. And I think that was where kind of the mission of my life began.
I definitely hear you on that. I became disabled over 30. Do my math in my head. When you get old like me, Shane, you gotta pause for a minute and do the math in your head. But it's been 32 years for me.
Mhm.
Probably longer than you've been alive,
Yeah,
Shane, around the same time. And I had to come to grips with what my past normal was to what my
yeah,
new normal was.
mhm,
And to hear those same type of things in my head, like, will I be able to get into a relationship? Will someone want to be with me? All these different things. What can I do now?
yeah,
And it was like a light went off in my head. I was like, you know what? I've always been hard headed my entire life. Why stop now? So
yeah,
let me go ahead and try to do some things to make things better. And when I see ones like yourself, Shane, who are just putting the pedal to the metal and just making it happen, it just shows, man, we got some great leaders in our community that can really help people to see, like, hey, we can make a difference and we can do a lot of great things together.
absolutely. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, I something interesting about disability, something interesting that you just said, is learning to accept a new normal. I think that disability is really good at helping humans learn to accept new normals because I've been disabled my whole life, but my disease is progressive. So over time, my abilities change, and I've lost abilities over the years, and it's a never ending journey of like learning to accept new normals. And I think that that really breeds a lot of creativity and innovation. uh yeah, and like you said, it takes a certain level of hard-headedness of, what, this might not be the easiest path in the entire world, and a lot of the world was not made for me and people like me, but I'm gonna make it work, and I'm gonna do what I can to make a difference.
So true, Shane. And Shane, when you talk to neuro ones who have recently became disabled, or ones who were born disabled,
Mhm.
and they're feeling like they just don't have a place, or how they can fit into just society. What type of advice do you give them, just to help them to see that you're going to have these highs and lows in life,
Yeah,
but don't let the lows take you out.
that's a great question. I think something that's really useful for me is, it sounds really simple, but it's acknowledging that life is just a series of highs and lows, that no one goes through life always on the highs, disability or not. Um, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to have low days or low weeks or low months. Another thing that really helps me is reminding myself that the messages portrayed by our media and society are not real. Again, growing up, I didn't think that I had value as a romantic partner, and that led me to not pursuing any kind of romantic relationship. I would probably still be single if I never kind of made myself um, try, like, get myself out there. And yeah, there was failure involved in that. Uh, but reminding myself that, what society says about me is not the absolute truth. Um, it is a very helpful thing to do. And again, it's not always easy. Like, it's so much easier to sit here and say, "Oh yeah, just remind yourself that those hard emotions aren't real." But like, they're hard and they're overwhelming at times. So maybe just know that, like, you're not alone, that so many disabled people have gone through what you're feeling, um, and gotten through it, or are actively getting through it day by day. There's no like right way to suddenly feel like you've like achieved perfect contentment. It's a lifelong journey. So yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Shane, I was thinking of a saying Obi-Wan Kenobi said in I think it was the either Revenge of the Sith or yeah, when he said only a Sith believes in absolute. So
Mm,
there's no absolute
I
when
love
it
it.
comes
Yep.
when it comes to our disability.
Uh huh.
And Shane, when you put yourself out there, you met an amazing person who loved you for you,
Hmm.
and when Hannah first kind of interacted with you, and you guys first start talking,
Yeah.
in the back of your mind, uh, did you think it was real, or did you think like, is this girl trying to play with me, or she really loving me?
Yeah. It's a great question. I think whenever you meet someone as incredible as Hannah is, like there's just a million different ways that she's the most perfect human being I've ever met. And so I think anyone who Hannah is showing, interest in romantically would probably have moments in the beginning where they're like, "Is this real? Am I being pranked?"
Yeah,
Um, but there was a such a real connection between her and I from the beginning that like, you know, I was very easily able to put aside those initial worries that you have when you get into a relationship. Um, I had dated a few women prior to meeting Hannah, and obviously those relationships didn't work out, but they taught me a lot. They taught me that I am a worthy romantic partner who is capable of providing in a relationship. Um, and it helped me a lot when I did meet Hannah to have confidence in myself that, I was worthy of her. And I think that confidence is a really difficult thing to achieve, but it can only happen, like I said before, if you begin putting yourself out there, going through the highs and lows, and learning from them.
yeah, that's true. And Shane, it kind of reminds me like when I first got injured over 32 years ago, there was a shift that was happening in
Hmm.
interabled relationships. I know the rehab hospital I was in, Rancho Los Amigos here in Los Angeles,
Yeah,
um, a lot of my bedfellows who I was in the rehab ward with, they lost a lot of their wives,
yeah,
their girlfriends,
hmm,
and they were just alone. But then like a year later, and that had me thinking like, wow, is this going to happen to me?
yeah,
I started to see a shift where as long as we talked, we communicated, we connected with the person on an intellectual level,
hmm,
that you can have a person fall in love with you
yeah,
despite your disability. And I tell this story all the time. I had more women attracted to me in my wheelchair than I did when I was up and around.
yeah,
Because when I was up and around, I relied on my looks, I relied on my skills that I had. But
hmm,
then when I got injured, I had to just rely on my brain and my mouth, and
yeah,
just connect with the person, make a person feel good,
yeah,
and it kind of blew my mind, Shane. And then to see where we're at today, 3 decades later, I mean, I look at our community and I sit back and I'm like, we have come a long way with this. And it's ones like yourself, ones like Cole and Charisma, and,
yep,
and and others out there, have shown people, yeah, you can get in a relationship with those who are disabled. I know, like for me, I've been married to be 29 years this year, but
congrats,
my wife
congrats.
and I, we've been together for 30 since 91. So we were together before my accident, and
Yeah,
they don't care what you are, who you are. And that's a beautiful thing, Shane.
absolutely. Yeah, it's something that we talk about in our YouTube videos all the time. People that do not have experience with disability have all these assumptions that dating a person with a disability or being in a relationship with them must be like nonstop caregiving or like sad or lonely, and it's none of those things. When we set out to write our book, Interabled, in which we were interviewing a bunch of other interabled couples, I was unsure about how easy it would be to find other couples to interview. There's just not many examples in our media of people in relationships like us. But we put up a submission form online asking the world for anyone that was interested, um, people in interabled relationships to be interviewed for our book. And in less than 24 hours, we had over 600 submissions from couples all over the United States. And it was just this like beautiful eye-opening moment of, oh, I'm not special. I'm not rare. It's a good feeling to not feel rare. And the process of meeting and interviewing so many of these couples was again like amazing to see that there were so many people out there who live lives like we do and are happy and thriving. And I hope that when the world reads our book, they stop looking at, me and Hannah as like this rare, like once in a blue moon type thing, and realize that we're out here and we're living our lives.
Yeah, it's a lot of us out there, and we tell our stories, and we let people know,
Yep,
we have fun as couples, we go on vacation, we do
yep,
all these amazing things, and Shane, it's really great, when we're able to touch people's lives and let them know that, hey, this is possible, it can be done, but also tell people too, just because we're married don't mean we're perfect, we fuss, we get into it, I go to my man cave. She gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning where she has her own time to herself. So it's a real marriage. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, like any marriage, you have your disagreements, you have your difficult things, but if it's a strong relationship, which it sounds like yours obviously is, you figure it out and you get through
That is so true. And,
it.
and Shane, I want to spend just a few minutes talking about some of your content that you put on Instagram. You crack me up, Shane. I think of myself as being a funny guy, but I ain't got nothing on you, Shane. I mean, some of the things you come up with, man. With this one, I think IG post you did when you were kind of like interviewing yourself, like two different personalities. I was like, man, this is so funny. So I tried to mimic it myself, and Shane, I couldn't do it, man. So I mean, where do you come up with these different ideas to have something entertaining but also
Yeah,
educational as well?
thank you. I appreciate that. Um, part of it is coming up with a lot of bad ideas that end up not being that good, or funny, and making that content and then realizing, you know what, I'm not going to post this. This isn't my best work. Um, for me, I mean, humor has always been a huge part of my family dynamics, and I think that that's where I got my sense of humor from. When I was little and growing up, um, whenever anyone had kind of a problem or a challenge, or they were upset or whatever, our family's way of handling that was to make fun of the situation, um, so that the person who's feeling upset or whatever is able to relax and laugh and just lighten the mood a bit. Um, I've always felt that humor is the best way to make difficult topics more approachable. So if in my goal of, making the world more educated and aware about disability, if part of that process is talking to them about how I'm making this up, but how people with disabilities might use the bathroom and why accessible bathrooms are important. That could very easily be a topic that might turn people away, and they might say, "That's weird. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to know how you use the bathroom. Thank you." But if I could make it funny and tell a funny story, make them laugh, and at the same time make them more aware about accessible bathrooms, whatever, then I've done my job. Um, so yeah, I think you know being funny helps me reach people and give them a little bit of medicine with a lot of sugar. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
And no, we really appreciate you and your content, and love how honest and open that you and Hannah are on social media. The interview with Hannah's mom was amazing, and all the other things in your family. And it's great to have you out here in the West Coast now, man. Now you and I, we can hang out now,
You
man.
gotta
So
hang out. I gotta get out to the desert.
definitely West Side. That's how we do it. So Shane, you and Hannah are going to be at the Abilities Expo, and you guys are going to be a part of two amazing events. And I have the honor and the privilege of introducing you both at both little events you're going to be at the expo. So why don't you
Awesome.
tell our viewers and our listeners out there what you and Hannah are going to be doing at the Abilities Expo?
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited. This will be our first Abilities Expo that we're ever performing at. Um, but we love Abilities Expo events. We've been to a few now, and we'll be giving two presentations. One is a more formal, I hate to use the word formal because it's a very funny presentation. You're going to be laughing the whole time, hopefully, if we do our job right. And you may be familiar with our life and our works, and we want to invite you to come on out and ask us anything that you want from, our favorite food to why we do the advocacy that we do. So nothing will be off limits, and we think it would be a fun time to, get to know some more of our audience. And that presentation is about debunking some of the stigmas that surround disability and relationships. So Ken and I will be using some ridiculous stories from our own relationship to identify and break down some of these kind of nefarious ideas that are out there in the world, um, to help the audience feel more comfortable and empowered about, maybe being in a relationship with a disability or with someone that has a disability. And then on day two, we'll be doing just a real laid back, casual audience Q&A. So, we know that many of you attending may have seen our videos online.
Awesome, and I know we're all looking forward to it. I remember last year when you showed up, you went through the floor and everything, and I was trying to make my way to you, but by the time I got around, you guys already jetted. But now I'm
Oh,
glad we
yeah.
get a chance to
Well, we'll,
spend.
we'll we'll meet up this time for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, we get a chance to hang out and chat and everything. That's really going to be awesome. Shane, be careful what you wish for with questions, because the one question everybody wants to know about me and you being husbands. And you know what I tell them, Shane? I tell them this. I tell them the Death Star is still operational. That's what I always tell them, so they can quit asking me those darn questions.
That's a great answer. I need to steal that one.
Hey, anything, my friend, it is yours. You could definitely use that. But Shane, it was so great chatting with you. And anything else you like to share with us? Maybe how ones can get in contact with you, follow your content. The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would encourage everyone, if you're interested, our newest book, Interabled, has just been released last month, or earlier this month. Wow. Um, and so that is available wherever books are sold. We encourage you to check that out. Please, if you're in the LA or SoCal area, come on out to the Abilities Expo, March 7th and 8th, I think. Come on out, say hi. And yeah, I really appreciate you, Paul, for having me on and talking on disability and advocacy.
Hey, Shane, it's been an honor and a privilege, man. We've been following you for a while, and some of the things that you and your amazing wife Hannah does is really awesome, and that's one thing that you and I have in common. We have some pretty amazing wives who take
Absolutely.
care of us, who allow us to do what we do, and make it easier for us to to be out and do some things, man. So it's really awesome to get a chance to chat with you.
You as well. Thank you, Paul.
That was Shane Burcaw. Really enjoyed chatting with him and finding about more about his story and just what he's been doing out there and how he's really a leader when it comes to the disabled community out there. And I tell you, I've been in this game for 3 decades, and it is great to see the newer generation come and just take the bull by the horns and just doing the thing. So I really appreciate him and hearing about his lovely wife, Hannah, and their relationship. And you'll get a chance to see them in person at the Abilities Expo, March 7th through the 9th. Now, they're going to be there that Friday and also that Saturday. If you go to our website, abilities.com, you'll be able to check out the whole entire schedule. And don't forget, you also can register early, register now to make it easier for you instead of dealing with, all the LA madness when you get there. Oh, parking. Now, if you're driving, parking is $27. Now, it used to be $25. But can you believe the city of Los Angeles that has the LA Rams, the LA Lakers, the LA Chargers, and the Inglewood Clippers now, they're still the LA Clippers. But all that tax revenue coming in there, and they got the nerve to go up $2 on parking and make it $27. I mean, come on, y'all. I mean, really? I'm sorry. Let me get off my soapbox. But that just really bothered me when I found that out. But just be prepared. $27. Now, if you can maybe take some alternative transportation there, it may be easier for you. But whatever it is, we want you there. So many great things we're going to have there at the Abilities Expo. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be emceeing this time. Can you believe that? At the event center. I'm going to be doing the thing. I'm going to be having fun and dancing, playing some music, and introducing our great guests like Shane and Hannah and others. Justin's going to be there. Justin Graham. Wow. He and I are going to be dancing together. Other ones going to be there. So go to our website and see what's in store for you. Well, it's time for me to get out of here. But before I go, do me a favor. Stay healthy, stay safe, and remember, I love you all to life. Take care, everyone.
Paul Amadeus, yeah, he don't wait for no one.
It ain't no stopping when I'm reaching for the top, and I know it ain't no looking back, I'm only looking forward. My goals and my goals don't define who you know, and I'm fine, I'll be fine, I just want you to know.